Hello, everybody. It's your boy JCG. Welcome back to the lounge. I'm back after a nice, needed hiatus. I promise y'all I'm going to have many more videos out before the end of this year. I was planning on doing a big video before 2023 comes to a close, but that may not come until mid-January. We'll see what happens. But for right now, today's topic is all about the tweet of one particular individual. His name is Chris Gore, of the YouTube channel Film Thread. I don't have a Twitter account, as some of you know. I did watch some other videos, however, that screenshotted his tweet and discussed it. This is the tweet right here, where he says, quote, "Turning Marvel and Star Wars into girl brands will prove to be one of the costliest decisions in entertainment history." And you know what? I'ma say it. He's right. Probably gonna be an unpopular opinion, but I can't say that he's lying. You guys, Marvel and Star Wars are technically not meant to be girl-centered brands. These are not necessarily franchises with females as their core audience. Now, before you get mad at me and say that I'm sexist or that I don't want women enjoying the things that I like, let me take a moment to explain. You see, when it comes to things like superheroes, sci-fi action adventures, stuff like that, they tend to appeal more to boys than they ever did girls. Nowadays, those genres have a mixed audience of male and female, but they still have a predominantly male audience, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, for the case of Star Wars, George Lucas himself has stated that the franchise itself was mainly meant for 12-year-olds. Probably 12-year-old boys, most likely. Now, obviously, Star Wars has grown beyond being a brand for children. And yes, we cannot deny that there are young girls, young women, and older women who love Star Wars. I grew up with an older sister who loved watching the movies with me. However, while there is definitely a female audience, the majority of Star Wars fans tend to be boys and older men. The same thing can be said for Marvel. I mean, let's be real here. At least with Star Wars, despite that franchise having a majority male demographic, the brand itself always felt like it had a much wider appeal to everyone. With Marvel, however, that was a franchise that was always intended to be for boys. I'm sorry, but that isn't a matter of opinion. That's literally the truth. The superhero comic book landscape was and still is to this very day a male-centered genre. For many years, superhero-related stuff always had fan bases that were male-dominated. That's not to say that there was never any superhero stuff for girls, because of course there was. We've had plenty of films, TV shows, and even comics within Marvel, and DC for that matter, that appeal to the ladies as well. Especially in recent years. And guess what? That's perfectly fine. I encourage that. But at the end of the day, who tends to be more interested in superheroes? Men and young boys. Who is more interested in big action spectacle? Men and young boys. Who makes up the majority of the audience for comic book related material? Men and young boys. Marvel, along with some other franchises I can name off the top of my head, was never meant to be girl-centered. Unfortunately, Disney, for whatever reason, decided that because they were concerned that the female fan audience wasn't big enough, they had to completely turn Marvel into a female-centric franchise, which means half the male characters are gone, or just underutilized. Disney wants Marvel to become what they've been in the public eye for many years, a brand that had a predominantly girl fan base due to all the Disney princesses that essentially represented the company for a while. I mean, it's kind of why Victoria Alonso, before she was fired, made that stupid comment about the X-Men and why the name needs to change, because there's plenty of women in the X-Men, so I think that name is outdated. Even though the name itself never exclusively referred to the men. Look, I'm not saying Marvel or Star Wars can't have female heroines or that there cannot be girl fans. I want both men and women to enjoy these sorts of things. It's better when we all come together, no matter which gender we are, male or female, and discuss and have fun with the things we love. That being said, Chris Gore is not wrong. Disney is learning the hard way that Marvel and Star Wars, Marvel specifically, were not tailored for girls and were not intended to be that way. Again, this does not mean that there's anything wrong with having girl stuff within these franchises, or that there shouldn't be women represented. Look at the first Wonder Woman film from 2017, my friends. Big success, a superhero movie that had a female lead. Look at Rogue One, a Star Wars story from 2016. That had a female lead, also a massive win. Women can and should be part of the geek communities these brands have grown, as well as be represented within the stories these movies and TV shows tell. But Disney is forgetting the reason why they acquired brands like Marvel to begin with. When you take a franchise that had a majority male demographic, try to remove most of that demographic to appeal to the opposite gender, who, as we mentioned before, isn't as interested in the superhero genre as much as men, and then marketed your recent projects as being for women only and saying that these projects aren't made with men in mind, you see why that doesn't work. It would be the exact same results if there was a particular franchise made specifically for boys, but then the company who owns said franchise wanted the majority girl audience gone in favor of more boys. So they put out a product that was designed for boys, even though boys were never meant to be the target audience to begin with. That, my friends, is not a good business move. That's how you get stuff like Ghostbusters 2016, DC's Birds of Prey, the She-Hulk series, the most recent MCU film, The Marvels, the upcoming Star Wars Disney Plus series, The Acolyte, which nobody cares about, by the way. Doctor Who is suffering from this as we speak, and I don't even care about Doctor Who. And don't even get me started on the trailer for that atrocious-looking Madam Web movie. I know there will be some who won't see eye to eye with me on this, but I rest my case. Chris Gore spoke the truth. But those are just my thoughts on the situation. Like I said, I'm not saying that if you're a girl or a young woman, you can't like these sort of things. Of course you can. You can be a fan of Marvel if you're a girl. If you can be a fan of Star Wars if you're a girl. But I was just, I'm just telling you how it is. Chris Gore is telling everyone how it is. And yeah. Tell me what you think of Chris Gore's tweet and whether or not you believe he has a point. And while you're at it, why not leave a like, a comment, and feel free to subscribe to the channel. This has been your boy JCG, and I will see you guys on the next video. I'm out. God bless you all. Deuces.